So I'm gonna periodically announce this so that everybody is aware. This is not Zac Hill. Zac couldn't make it today. This is Mike Mcclellan, editor and one of the game designers for the game. So most of the game design I did was interface design, the tutorial.
That was a nice tutorial, by the way.
Did I meet you?
Oh, thank you. And then also. I did work on. I was part of the team that chose the new unlocks for this expansion for the old decks. So like things like some of my picks were Necrotal. I definitely picked a few more. Some of the picks that went into the Ajani deck. I didn't do a lot of the heavy lifting on the game design, but it was, I mean, mostly the interface and the tutorial. No problem.
Why did you put Elvish Viper in the elf deck? Since all of the elves usually require very little mana.
Well, I don't think the elf deck really needed too much help.
Yeah.
And so it's still, it still lets you do Elven Riders and more stuff in the same turn where you could have just cast Elven Riders. So it's a minor improvement. It's not some huge bomb card for that deck, but it's also an elf. I mean, you'll notice that all the unlocks are cards that were already in the game somehow. They aren't new to the game. And so I'm pretty sure that deck, we have to be really careful what elves we gave it.
Is there any chance of getting a coat of arms into the mono red deck?
That's an interesting one. I mean, that's something that would be considered. I mean, right now it's not a straight goblin deck, so putting a coat of arms in there would be, it'd be effective. It's not going to be great, but I don't know. I don't know how effective that would be. But I think that half the time it would help the opponent more than it would help the red deck, don't you think? I mean, because a lot of these other decks are tribal. Like, right now, if I was playing against Nissa and I was able to get enough guys out, I'd be, if I play Coat of Arms, I'd be like, yeah, sure, play Coat of Arms. I got all these warriors. Yeah, exactly.
Sapper Wings, the hell of a night pack.
So I think actually the Dragon deck would probably appreciate Coat of Arms more, even though it's not straight dragons. Yeah.
Well, you can still get those dragon tokens from the Dragon Roost.
And Sprouting Thrynax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Sprouting Thrynax is really bad.
Holy crap, 3/3s.
Yeah, exactly. So
I was just wondering, when you guys made the game and everything, how come you didn't add the boss's deck into the decks that you could unlock?
I don't know exactly. I wasn't involved in that decision. Well, Sprouting Thrynax, okay. I was getting that out. So I wasn't involved in that decision. And I mean, one of the reasons why is because I don't think, you'll notice that the boss deck in this expansion is not the same exact deck as the Tezzeret deck you fight in the first game. And so we did want to make the boss deck feel like a real challenge, but we didn't want to introduce that level of good deck into the mega game. So we needed a deck that was really good to be the boss. But we didn't want to make that deck become the deck to play in multiplayer.
Yeah.
So we had to balance. That, and the way that we balanced it was by making the boss deck extra good.
So are there plans for more music in duels?
Not that I know of. Though that's an interesting feature request. I'll have to add it to the list.
If we submitted. If some of us created demos of mixes, if we submitted that, is it possible to add those?
I have a feeling that, it wouldn't be possible for us to add it, just on the fly add it.
Right.
But
review and stuff, and if it went through editing and stuff.
I don't know how we would do that, but I imagine that if you created something that was copyrighted, that you could publicly offer it to us. So I don't know how that would work. I don't know who you'd be able to talk about. I don't know. That's an interesting contest, though. That would make a good contest.
Okay.
I don't know if you talked about it, but do you ever is there plans to make it so that we could edit our decks, the entire deck, not just the new cards?
It's definitely a feature. It's definitely a feature we've talked about. One of the problems with it is that there are two major parts to Magic, and one of them is deck building, the other one is playing. And right now, this is the only game where the emphasis is on playing the game. And so, if we were to take it and give deck building to this game also, we would take away the ability for people to decide that they don't want to deal with deck building. They don't want to deal with having to own massive amounts of cards. They just want to play the game. We'd be taking that away from them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely a feature that we talked about, and like it was a delicate balance between creating an environment, where skill was too important. And I mean, like we have to pick which side we want to err on. We want to make this a skill testing game where like only the people who really knew how to play Magic would be getting out there and getting good game experiences, or do we want to open it up to more people? And so we wanted to make it open to more people. It's one of the reasons why it's such a bargain price.
Are you guys going to continue to expand on it?
We definitely have the ability to continue to make expansions, like
Oh, come on.
We haven't announced anything, but it is certainly a possibility.
Do you guys have plans of throwing in mana with abilities like double mana?
So
Yeah, I was
one
gonna ask
problem
you about that too.
that doesn't play well right now with the way that it has mana. It would have to we'd have to do more than just add the cards to the game. We would also, I mean, like right now, the AI is what's choosing, like the same AI the computer uses to decide what lands to tap is what's being used to tap the player's lands. And so that AI would have to be modified to be able to handle dual lands. And then also there'd be the issue of, we have things that can destroy lands in the game already, this violent ultimatum. And so we would have to make sure that players could choose how to tap their lands if we gave them a bunch of special lands. So that things like violent ultimatum wouldn't matter as much, like that it would work out correctly. So,
Well, Mike, I want to thank you for answering all of my questions. I'm about to head out.
oh, no problem.
And I also want to thank you for Hurricane, especially.
You're welcome. You can also thank me for Mass Calcify, whoever that was.
Yeah. All right.
And he didn't kill my Torch Runner. Why wouldn't he block my Torch Runner so I could Torch Run his Shivan Dragon? I can't imagine.